Welcome back to our Wisco Radio pregame show, joined by Vikings head coach Bret St Arnauld. Bret, it's always good to talk to you. We're getting close to November. Has to feel good. Here we are, level 2, but good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Well, a dominating win last week against a team that traveled a long ways. Yep. Seymour had to travel about 2.5, 3 hours by bus to get down here. You guys took care of business. I tell you what, you cap off an undefeated season. The second season, as they say, starts, and I thought from start to finish, maybe one of the better games that you guys have played all year.
Yeah, I mean, putting 3 phases together is always the goal. Really trying to get that done every game, obviously, but we were able to do that last week against Seymour, and I think that, you know, as the competition gets tougher, obviously you want to have those 3 phases in gear, kind of basically complementing each other. And I thought that last week was a good start for us as far as being complementary to each other. I think going into this week, again, Baraboo team, physical, strong up front, obviously playing a good conference. It's going to be a different ball game against Baraboo this week.
Well, this team, you've kind of seen it all this year. You've seen fast starts, good finishes, kind of in the middle, but a 34-point first half for you guys really had to make you feel good about, you know, kind of getting those playoff jitters going and taking care of business against Seymour.
Yeah, you know, I've never played against a single wing, never coached against it. I know about the single wing, but I never had to coach or play against it, and last week was the first time. So I think that all of us were just kind of getting used to it. When you throw 4 or 5 guys through a hole, it's tough to defend. So I was really proud of us. You know, that first drive, we gave them a short field, didn't really execute an offense, and then they went down on the field and scored on us. That was pretty much all they got going all night. But I think it was just us getting our feet wet against an offense that we typically don't see. I shouldn't say typically. I've been coaching for 14, haven't seen it once till last week. So even for me, not having seen it, coached it, or played against it, it was new for our kids. And I think that was kind of due to the slow start for us on defense. But obviously we made the adjustments we needed to make, finish out the game well, did exactly what we needed to on offense, and we're able to get our JV in. And anytime we can do that in a playoff game, it's always a good thing.
Well, we're going to talk about the defense, but let's talk about this offense. Obviously, it's been an offense that's just been rolling here all year, 40-plus points a game. But the distribution of the football last week really had to make you happy. Multiple receivers catching multiple receptions there.
Yep.
You got Owen Ashelman a touchdown, which was very nice.
Yep.
But this past week, 4 touchdown passes. The running game, maybe not as strong as it has been, but just such a good balance in this team. It's really tough, and we've talked about it. It's tough to defend.
Tough to defend. Yeah, you've got Chris Keel, who's close to 900 yards receiving. You got LJ, who's got 600 yards receiving. You got OP, who's close to 400. You got T.O., that's just over 200, and you got Ashelman, that's almost 200. That's all just receiving. And then you're talking about rushing the ball. Obviously, Trenton's got close to 1,300. Casey's got close to 700. So you got a lot of different ways that you have to defend it. It makes it very difficult, strains the defense. You know, over the season, we've been grateful and actually, you know, really blessed the fact that we've only had to punt basically average once a game. That doesn't happen too often, and that's because our offense does such a good job. But it always starts up front, right? Our offensive line creating those holes, getting protection for Casey, and allowing Casey to get the ball out. I think that is just something that kind of gets lost in translation, is how good our offensive line has been. Between Austin and Braylon and Joey now coming in, replacing Ben when he got hurt against Stoughton. And then we got Drew playing and then Mahoney. I mean, we got a really good offensive line that's just giving us a lot of time, which at any point in time, no matter if you've got a good team or good athletes or bad athletes, if you got time, you're going to be able to distribute the ball. So now when you got athletes out there running free, that makes it a lot easier for us. So we're very thankful for our LC and what they've been able to do for us all season, and we're hoping to continue that this week.
Bret St Arnauld joining us here on our pregame show, and let's talk defense here. It's a group that's perhaps overshadowed by those who maybe aren't paying as close attention. But if you're watching like we have week in, week out, your defense has played some really good football. Interestingly, not a huge turnover team, but as of late, this defense has been turning the ball over. You turned Portage over, and then last week with the interception, Brooks had an interception last week, the safeties. This defense really seems like they're playing good football. you're only giving up less than 19 points per game, so it's been a really
Yeah.
good team effort this year.
I mean, you can take away some. I credit the Stoughton game too as an example. Defense needed to step up, and we held them 13 points. We're talking about a physical offensive line, really good athletes. So where we had to really step up as a defense, the offense bailed us out a few times this year. Earlier in the season, MG is one of them. But prime example is they've gotten better every week. Young group. I mean, we got a young core, pretty much start 8 underclassmen on defense. So we got a young group in there, obviously, and we got a couple sophomores that have been playing a lot of snaps the last 3-4 weeks. And so when you got sophomores out there, it's a learning curve for them, and the speed is so different. But now seeing them really take that step as sophomores, you're going to really start to see them actually start to develop and as juniors right in front of our eyes. So when you see that stuff start to develop, our D-line's been playing extremely well, very disciplined. Our linebackers are starting to see things so much faster, reading and flying, and obviously our secondary has pretty much been our go-to all season. Obviously Brooks, such a high tackler for us, our leading tackler from the safety spot. He's so good at playing both run and pass. And then obviously we got LJ and Chris at our corner spots, Ship and Ash coming as well on the defensive side of the ball, flying up, making tackles. It's been very good for us, and I think that if we play discipline this week, it's going to be the same thing. We just have to make sure if it's not turnovers, get them off the field. We can't let Baraboo go on extended drives. And as with any other week, we have to settle in and hopefully give them a long field to go, because for the most part, our defense has been pretty good on the first drive all year, outside of last week. So we're hoping to continue that this week and hopefully get them off the field and get the offense the ball as many times as we possibly can. That's the best thing we can do. When you get them off the field, we're doing pretty good.
Well, you mentioned Baraboo. They're upcoming here, round number 2. They beat Toma last week 27-26. They're now in the Mississippi Valley Conference, so it's a team obviously that you've played over the years. They've moved conferences 6-4 in the year, 4-3 in conference play. What are your thoughts on Baraboo, and what do you expect out of them this week?
Well, Coach Turk, he's obviously a great coach. Ever since he's gotten there, Baraboo's they've been good every year. So every year we expect a good game when we do play Baraboo. Obviously back in the day when they're still in Badger, we knew Baraboo was going to be a dogfight. And then they're just trained that way. They're fast off the ball, they're physical, they're brand of football that fits right in with the Badger, right? I mean, it's just the physical football. And obviously 4-3, they had a couple close games throughout the year. On Alaska was a 1-point game. La Crosse Central was a little bit bigger, and so was Beaver Dam as far as defeat-wise. But I think those are kind of anomalies. I think that for the most part, they're in ball games because they control the clock. If we can prevent that from happening, if we can prevent them from just chewing clock, going on long drives, I think I like our chances. But that's all comes up on the defensive side of the ball. We got to match their physicality. They're going to be physical. They're going to come off the ball. If we can match their physicality, again, I like us against anybody. It's just matching that physical style of play that they like to do on both sides of the football. They're physical on defense, they're physical on offense. So let's match it and then see what happens.
All right, looking forward to round number 2 here. Vikings Stadium has to feel pretty good. Coach St Arnauld here on our Wisco Radio pregame show. Stay tuned for Mount Horeb versus Baraboo right here on Wisco Radio.